I will trust in you. I surrender all to you. I will trust in you, Lord. I believe you. I surrender all to you. I surrender all to you.
It is a beautiful Monday morning, and we're so happy you can join us for Breakfast Daily.
Yes, that was some beautiful music by Annie Labi. And Breakfast Daily is alive, and we're excited to have you with us today. My name is David Kwekusichi.
And I am Dziffa Ametam. Now, it's an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we want to hear from you. Just use the hashtag Breakfast Daily to join the conversation.
Yes, and the WhatsApp line is +233 550 585832. Wherever you are in the world, we would like to hear from you.
How was your weekend?
Weekend was good. Relaxing. Well, let me say Sunday was relaxing. Saturday was busy. So just
what did you do on Saturday?
Just work. Just work on Saturday, and then Sunday. Sunday was relaxing, was chilled out, you know. And some good news for our church. We're going back into service next week. So,
wow.
But it's going to be phased.
Okay. So for those who don't know your church.
Yeah. So I'm with ICGC. And so the ICGC assembly, Christ Temple, is phasing back.
Nice.
You know, and what they are doing is they're going to have only one service.
Okay.
On Sunday. It's going to be at 10:30, and it's going to go to 11:30. You know, so
just 1
hour. And it's going to be faced, and
nice.
I'm interested. It will be intriguing to see how it plays out.
I mean, knowing ICGC,
and there's still going to be an online service as well. Every Sunday. Online is not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Yeah.
Now, those of you who went to church yesterday, let us know how it went. The hashtag again is Breakfast Daily, and also line is 0550585832. Now, today is the 10th of August. In no time, we'll be in December, and our policymakers will be coming to us for us to vote for them. And the period between now and then is when we have to hold them accountable. So if you have any problems in your community, bad roads, terrible hospitals, bad schools, just take out your phone and record an up to 1 minute video. We want to see exactly what you are experiencing within your communities, and share those videos with us via our email, hellomrpresidenttv@gmail.com. You can also WhatsApp the video to us at 0550-585832, and every Wednesday we'll show it here on Breakfast Daily for the entire country and the world to see what you're experiencing, and also call onto policy makers to make those problems disappear so that you can really be productive and grow in this country.
Fantastic. And referring to Hello, Mr. President, last week there was this challenge with the water supply in Labadi, and you did a follow-up to that.
But let's take a look at the original video that we received on Wednesday.
All right, let's do that. Let's take a look at that.
Congratulate the President for catering for our light and water bills for the rest of the year. But it's quite unfortunate that our taps do not flow frequently. It flows once in a week. However, with this COVID-19 precautionary measures, we are supposed to wash our hands with the running water. But here lies the case, we don't have the taps flowing. We don't have any running water to wash our hands. However, how do we abide by this coronavirus measures? So I plead with the government, if there is anything he can do to help us with our taps flowing each and every day, we'll be very happy. Thank you.
So this was the original video that we received last week. She was complaining that their taps were not flowing the way they should be. So we called the PRO for Ghana Water Company Limited, Mr. Stanley Martin, and he said that granted, they were not providing water 7 days a week because there's such high demand for water now that it's free. So what they were doing was that maybe 3-4 days a week, people will get water. So what they should be doing within these communities is store the water when you see that your taps are flowing, so that when they go off, you won't struggle. He also said that Ghana Water Service Company Limited was providing tankers. So in situations where you've gone for 2-3 days without water, you would actually have some tankers from Ghana Water Company Limited
provide
so that you can fetch some water. So last week I went to Labadi to see for myself, like, okay, what exactly is the issue? Is it that the viewer was only experiencing this in her home, or were people there also experiencing it? So we'll take a look at what they had to tell us. In his mid-year budget review, the Finance Minister, Ken Oforiatta, informed the nation that Ghanaians were going to enjoy 3 months of free water. Unfortunately, some residents of Labadi have not benefited from this social service.
I said, I just said 4 days, 3 days, you can't say free momo dear. Free momo so no macra. 3 days, 4 days to see a baby no 12 o'clock will be ada. I send a baby pipe no. But who are quite Juma wa bread. What to me, Bessipe, sense you are a bandica, so a bandica can't a bandica simpaka, also the bua no aqua. The baba a beer, Miss Sodia, but now 12 o'clock at 3 and son and Macacoda. I said, my name soon, Cacra, I could borrow tank in them until your palm 20 so won't be beer or won't be any day. Send your message upon or more beer or beer for Juma, or better me boons and son of water. Not 12 for no, or about 8, 9, what da. 11, 12 for no, how my empire. Me say no many almost 60 years, and I'm going to met nothing stones from 12 for a pin 3 and son of Mada, Manacacra, and son of the good portacamo, son of may be beer, met me tiente, your poor mucho, or more yard more, if 3 days, 4 days, on baby, and said 3 days, 4 days, or more being on Tamumaya, or be able to me abon soon be. And so no dabia, or but sometimes no 2 days, nana 3 days, name back. Name Banasi government no beman so no ye fa mba aha ye hu so bebia ye fa mba ha ye fa mba kwejo na aha ye kwejo na court area no ye fa mba ha ye fa mba ha
so Ghana Water Tank
dabi e bia ni ha
ya omutum ebe 1 month na ya omutu pipe na pipe mba ye nyanso a ye be dware say ye fagalo na ya ko market side na ya ko akosua na ye yaba ansa ye be dware enti ye pese ye nhwe mu nhwe mai na mu nhwe mu fa omun kasa na omun bie pipe no mai omun tap bie mai na ye unchire enti enu na
Agnes, an entrepreneur, shares the frustrations that have come with unpredictable flow of water.
Yeah, no, have the one said bulla. I didn't know if it's from it's a new and the one you was if you form the said that to go deep, Yankasan 2 years because of so problem niti. Yet 2 man who go deep, send a beer, Yan Suya, or be able to me. I could say, also because says to a bin of her and say, Banisai and Yabia, the one yes, I've been so well down. Yeah, hold, yeah, any be brave, huh? A bit of heavy, I've been so young to go back to
Theophilus discusses the dangers of relying on unsafe underground water.
Sabu ya no ewa no na enu na yusu na e di dware enu so enye se we nu every fa machine we nu every toku neba ebi bibi betumi atom na wonim na wakwakosa na wo di adware na edu sa mebre bibia na yare bia will be Obi Baka Chere say, Ebi Awanya Yariwe, Wanya Yariwe, no be nim say, Wakos Sa, so near one, now they are Jari.
All right, so there you have it. So many challenges that people have in their different spaces, and I think it's important for us to address these things, you know, on a more personal level. And I really like the fact that you actually went out there to talk to them, you know, just be with them in their community and so let's hear from them what's really going on. I think that sometimes we describe problems and we make them impersonal, you know, so it's like it's far away. The problem is somebody else's problem, but it's all of us our problem, you know. And I think that there are many people who will be experiencing these kinds of things in their homes, but you don't get the opportunity to share them. And so this platform that we have, Hello Mr. President, I think it's a very, very important platform for all of us, for you out there, to send in their challenges, send us videos, send us an email, you know, send it to hello Mr. President TV at gmail.com, or send us on our WhatsApp line, WhatsApp videos, 0550-585832. We need to know 60-second video. Don't make it too long. 60-second video max. All right. Let us know what you're going through. But in this situation in Labadi, I think it's important for us to have a holistic approach, you know, to solving the problem, because I do know that there was a desalination, you know, plant that had been set up, which was, the idea was you take seawater, remove the salt, and it becomes good water for drinking. You know, I'm not sure what's happened with that project, but that was supposed to be a major lifesaver for that corridor, you know. But it seems that it's, you know, it's become virtually a white elephant. I'm not sure what's going on there and who's responsible for that.
Yeah. And for me, what made this issue so important was that water is an essential resource that we all need.
Absolutely.
You know, and in communities like this, low-income communities, people don't have as much disposable income as they did before coronavirus. If you're telling people to constantly wash their hands with running water and soap, you have to ensure that
there's water
available. If not, they are not going to go out of their way to buy hand sanitizers. So literally, running water could be that factor that stands between them catching coronavirus or staying negative. So when you hear that the government is providing a social service, it sounds great, but on the ground, how is it being implemented? Because if you're saying you are providing you free water, but communities that need the water the most don't have access, then how far are we going with our social interventions? And we need to get to a point where we don't only evaluate these social interventions from the perspective of how much they cost us, but of what value were they to the people that they were supposed to be beneficial to. So that's what I was really interested in. A lot of these people also cook. So you go into a home, there's a kenke seller there, there's an Indomie seller, there's a wachi seller there. If they have to go through all these issues, and some of them even talked about having to wake up at 12 a.m., fetch water all morning long when they're supposed to be asleep. Then you get right into cooking. The kinds of things you would do if you're going to wash your hands regularly when the taps are flowing, you're going to be conscious of it. I don't have a lot of water, so let me try and manage this small water. What does that mean for the cleanliness of the meal? And all these foods may be coming out of La to Osu, to Adabraka, to East Legon. We'll be consuming them and we will all get sick. So what's the cost of not being able to streamline the process of making these social services available to the people who need it the most?
I mean, I think that's critical. You know, we are looking at vulnerable groups who literally live from day to day. You know, and if you say, listen, there's no more money coming in for the next 3 months, they can't survive it. Okay, then that's the reality. There's nothing like we're going to stock up and, you know, hide out for the next 1 month. It doesn't. It's not. That's not their reality. You see. So I think it's important for us to think through these things as we implement, you know, across board. And like you said, look, people are waking up at 11 to go and fetch water. because that's the time that Ghana Water has chosen to open the taps for the water to flow, right? I'm not sure. I suspect that the rationale, right, is that we don't want too much pressure on the resource. So those who really need it will wake up and fetch the water. But again, like you said, these people are living in communities that their only source of livelihood is to literally prepare food and sell to other communities. So here's what was happening. You wake up at 11. By the time it's 3 o'clock, when the water stops flowing, it's time to start preparing your food. So you wake up at 11. I don't know what time they would have gone to sleep the night before. And you're going to prepare food right after you fetching your water and everything else. And you're going to go straight from there, go into the town and start selling. I'm not even sure how all of this works for some people's lives, because it's literally compromising our immune system, because our health is not in terms of even the side of having enough rest and having enough recuperation, it doesn't even work. So not only are you exposing people to conditions where coronavirus, they can't wash their hands and all of those things. If the water is going to flow at that hour of the night, there are also repercussions for it, and all of that. So I think that we need to really think through some of these interventions that we have, so that people are impacted positively and it actually makes a real difference.
And the other side, when we spoke to Stanley Mate, who's a PR of the Ghana Water Company Limited, he said that they were going to provide, or they were already providing, tankers from Ghana Water Company Limited. So in cases where, let's say, you've not had water for 3-4 days, there's a place you can go to fetch water. I didn't see any of the tankers while I was there. I spoke to not less than 10 people, and they all said they've not seen any tankers from Ghana Water Company Limited. So the question is, where exactly are these tankers, if they even exist? How are we communicating with the people within this community so that they know that, okay, in this area, I can get water? Because what ends up happening is they are all going to go to the people who sell water anyway. So if we had the situation where maybe the water was constantly running, that might have been more beneficial to them than us saying the state is going to provide you free water, but for 3 days you won't get water and you have to spend more money to go buy water. We need to figure out this whole social intervention. Theoretically, it makes sense. It's brilliant for our government to say, I'm going to come in and help you, because a lot of you are struggling right now. You don't have disposable income. Water is good. But practically, what cost are Ghanaians incurring the days that they don't have water? Because, I mean, even if the water is going to flow for 3 days straight and you don't have a poly tank at home, how many containers can you fill up to last you for the 4 days that you don't have water? So then, if it doesn't work, then it doesn't work. If we need to get to a point where we're going to say communities like East Legon, Airport, Cantonment, Laboni, all these other areas, you guys are going to pay for your water because you can afford to. If you can pay 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 cedis a month of rent, you should be able to pay for your water. Then we're going to look at communities like Mamprobi, Jamestown, Nima, La, and say, you guys, we're going to ensure that not only are you going to get free water, but it will be consistent. Then we can actually measure the impact of this free water initiative. But if you have a blanket statement like, okay, everyone gets free water, but people are now spending more on days they don't have free water, then what are we achieving?
Not much really. Anyway, we could go on and on about this, but I think that we've said enough for now, and I wish all of you out there, whatever challenges you have, please don't sit on it and don't keep quiet. Let's push the policy makers, let's push the duty bearers. There are people who are responsible to make sure things work in this country, and they are paid for that purpose. Let's make sure. Send us your videos, your 1-minute videos, send us your 250-word emails, send it to hello mrpresidenttv@gmail.com, and send it also to us on WhatsApp, a 60-second video WhatsApp at 0550-585-832. Well, we have a packed show for you today. Up
Yes, what's Akosia going to do?
After
I'm going
news
to talk to
review
us about.
will be nutrition. Akosia will be talking to us about fighting gestational diabetes. So that's the diabetes that can come on pregnant women, whilst they're pregnant and all that. But how to fight that with nutrition? We're going to be talking about that. Yeah.
And then Flossie
will be joining us later. Yeah.
Founder of the Pepper. We're going to be talking about fruit salad. When we talk about salads, you don't really think of fruits. You think of veggies.
Yeah.
So I'm curious what she's going to bring today and what we'll be making. So guys, don't want to miss any of the conversations. The hashtag to use again is Breakfast Daily, and our WhatsApp line is
0550585832.
My name is Dziffa Ametam.
And I'm David Kwekusechi.
News reviews next. We will be right back.
There is nothing as hard as a diamond. For buildings with superior strength that withstand all weather conditions, Diamond Cement should be your preferred choice. Locate Diamond Cement nationwide with factories in Aflao, Takrady and Bupe. Diamond Cement, as hard as a diamond.
Welcome back. This is still Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you so much for spending your Monday morning with us. We'll take a look at the newspaper headlines, then some online stories, and then we'll introduce our guests who are already seated here with us. Let's start off with the Ghanaian Times. Says here, EPA begins nationwide audit of ammonium nitrate storage facilities today. That story is on page 17. 2 trapped to death in Galamsey pit. It's a very sad story there. May their souls rest in peace. That story is on page 3. Allow righteous students to write exams. That story is on page 16. President directs GES. We'll now go on to Daily Graphic. Reject candidates who support violence. NCCE tells voters, and that story is on page 16. I'm not against free SHS. John Dramani Mahama. That story is on page 16 as well. Dismissed WASI candidates. Ministry GES meet today. That story is on page 3, and we will be taking a look at that shortly. We'll now go on to the Herald. Old school GES condemned for dismissing naughty Akufo-Addo graduates. Okay, story on pages 2, 3, 4, and 5 there in the Herald. DVLA workers desert office after COVID-19 suspected death. All right. South La Estate residents in fears after bomb explosion and injury. That's a really sad story there. Some kids were playing with that bomb without knowing what it was, and one is in critical condition. We hope that they will all be safe. We'll now take a look at our final newspaper. I'm talking about The Finder. 10,200 entrepreneurs in 6 regions seek NEIP funding, and that story is on page 8. NIA begins pilot in 23 districts as it prepares to operate permanent office in each district. That story is on page 2. We'll now go on to some online stories, starting with citynewsroom.com. On citynewsroom.com, we have Bono, 1 dead, 2 in critical condition during clash between NDC and NPP supporters. Students involved in Indora Jakpa SHTS destruction to be surcharged. That's coming from the MCE. Africa Education Watch cautions against politicization of exam results. Mahama announces $10 billion infrastructural plan dubbed Big Push. COVID-19, Ghana's case count now 41,003. 9 new deaths recorded. It's really sad one day. May their souls rest in peace. We're now going to take a look at some business news from citybusinessnews.com. On citybusinessnews.com, we have 1D1F, Ekumfi Juice, Casa de Ropa to pick up after COVID-19 slowed production. SEC urges fund managers to invest more in ICT services. Telcos challenge Ursula's claim of 1.5 billion Ghana cedis under declared taxes. Government must seek debt relief and cancellation to ease debt burden. That's coming from the IFS. Thank you. First Atlantic Bank launches 25th anniversary, commits to sub-regional expansion. If Akufo-Addo can ask Domolevo to go on leave, Chief Justice EC Boss can be ordered to do same. That's coming from Mahama, and that's on myjoyonline.com. We'll now take a look at some global news from BBC.com. Africa Live, Tanzania opposition doubts fair election. Now you can get all of your news from citynewsroom.com and all of your business news from citybusinessnews.com and all your updates on coronavirus on citynewsroom.com/coronavirus. Now it's an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we want to hear from you. If you're on Facebook, please comment down below. If you're on other social media platforms, the hashtag to use is Breakfast Daily. And if you want to reach us directly, our WhatsApp line is 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana, the country code to use is +233. I have been joined by Elvis Darkon, who's the editor of The Finder. Good morning, Elvis.
Good morning.
How are you?
Can't complain.
How's your weekend?
Not that much. Not that much.
Okay. But everything is good.
It's good.
We're glad you can
It's
join
okay.
us.
It's okay.
And we also have former Vice Chair of PIAC and lawyer Kwame Jantoa. We haven't seen you in a while. Good morning.
Okay, how are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I'm fine. I wasn't well for 2 weeks.
Oh, no.
Yeah, my doctor said I have to take bed rest.
You work too hard. You should rest a bit.
I try, I try, but you know, Ghana, it's not easy.
I know, but we're
by
glad
His
you're
grace,
well.
I'm okay.
Thank you for being with us.
Thank you too for being here.
We'll take a look at our first story. I'm reading from the Daily Graphic, and it says, dismissed WASI candidates, Ministry GES meet today. The Ministry of Education will hold a meeting with the Ghana Education Service today to consider the directive by President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to reconsider the dismissal and barring of 14 final year students from writing the rest of their papers in the ongoing West African Senior School Certificate Examination. Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo directed the Minister of Education, Dr. Matthew Opoku Prempeh, to engage the GES on the issue because the errant students deserved a second chance. Confirming the meeting with the GES yesterday, Dr. Opoku Prempeh said, "I will meet with the GES tomorrow morning and take it from there." Now, we know that last Friday, GES dismissed 14 senior high school students from their respective schools and also barred them from writing their remaining papers over various acts of vandalism and acts of indiscipline at their respective examination centers. After writing an integrated science paper, which they said was very difficult, some of the students vandalized school property. Others were also seen in foul-mouthed tirade directed at high-profile personalities, including the president himself. So after that, the president came out to plead on their behalf that they should at least be allowed to take the examination and not barred from it completely. Elvis, your thoughts on this situation with the students behaving the way they did because the examinations were hard?
Well, if they had breached any rule, they deserve the punishment. I disagree with any move to let lawlessness prevail in society.
Isn't it okay to just dismiss them? They've been dismissed from school.
No, they shouldn't write exams.
Why?
Because that's what WAEC says. The WAEC Act says that a person who before, during or after an examination conducted on behalf of the council assaults an individual supervisor, inspector, an officer authorized by the councillor, another candidate commits an offence and is liable to a summary conviction to a fine of not less than 100 penalty units and not more than 200 penalty units, or to imprisonment for a term of not more than 18 months or both. 2 says, the council shall cancel the entire results of the candidate and prohibit the candidates from taking an examination conducted by or on behalf of the council for a period of not less than 2 years immediately after the commission of the offense. So if whatever they've done had breached the rules of the game, I think that they should have served the punishment that they deserve. We have 375,000 candidates sitting the WASI in Ghana. A 14 messed up and they are to face the law. Let them face it so that those who are coming after them will know that you cannot mess up and go scot-free. We cannot build a lawless society when people do things and we pardon them.
Well, it's not necessarily.
I believe that whatever punishment they deserve should have been given to them in full to serve as a deterrent to all others that this cannot be allowed to continue in our society. We are gradually building a society where sense of entitlement and I can do whatever I feel like doing, even if it affects others. I don't care. It seems to be growing in our society. But this is a Ghanaian society where we have values and cultures that teaches us some things that these things are not part of our values.
Let me quote what the
if the president is not even president, but he's a 76-year-old man, and you a 20-year-old or 22-year-old, our culture and value teaches you that you give maximum respect to such people. Even if you disagree with them in a very polite and respectable manner.
That's why they've been dismissed.
So at the end of the day, if you go behaving, excuse me to say, like you don't have parents at home, or you have not been cultured, if there's any sanction, I would support it 100%. I disagree with the president for intervening. Should have allowed the GES to do its work, to instill discipline and send a strong signal to every young person in this country that we are not going to sit down for them to misbehave and erode our valued culture and traditions. We should not entertain that.
They have their whole future ahead of them, Elvis. This thing happened. It is wrong. Shouldn't they still be allowed to at least take the exam and then be dismissed from school?
The Bible says the wages of sin is death. When you commit a crime, you are supposed to pay the penalty. They are not being banned from WAEC forever. you are being given a punishment of 2 years.
That's a lot.
To sit home. Yeah, that is good.
In the life of a young
adult. It teaches you a lesson that when in the process of life, you should know how to behave. The elder says that the people you meet while you are climbing the tree are the very people you meet when you are descending from the tree. So when you are climbing, know that when you are descending, you meet the same people. So be careful of what you do. Okay. We should value our values. We shouldn't entertain this level of lawlessness, especially on the part of the youth, who we are claiming are the future leaders. So you ask yourself, if they can behave this way, then what future are we building for this country? Okay. So for me, I disagree with the president. I think the president should have allowed GS to do its work. It would have sent a strong signal. In this intervention, in my opinion, can only fuel more lawlessness, especially in the final year who say, I can only be dismissed, but at the end I'll take my exams. And do you know what is going to happen? When that person passes, it's in the university next year. And it takes the same attitude and lifestyle to the university and grows with it. So we should begin to set examples and send a strong signal that this kind of behavior will not be tolerated in our society.
All right, thank you. So before I get to Lawyer John, I want to read what the president said briefly. He said, even though the acts of indiscipline undertaken by these students are intolerable acts which have led to their subsequent dismissal from school, President Akufo-Addo is of the firm view that the dismissal alone is enough punishment and will serve as enough deterrent against future acts of indiscipline. So against future acts of indiscipline. So, Lawyer Jantua, do you agree with the president that they've been dismissed? That's enough, but preventing them from writing the exam is a bit strict.
Good morning. The acts that they did, were they criminal?
Yes, they were.
Is criminality against the law?
Yes.
Are they Ghanaians?
Yes, but they're children.
How old are they?
Oh, old enough to know right from wrong.
So, if a youth assaults and kills someone, what happens to them?
They'll be trialed as an adult.
Law. It's a law. I will agree with Elvis. I really don't think the president should have stepped into this.
Why?
He has put people in charge, hasn't he? I appreciate the humanitarian side of the president. But law is law. Nobody can take the law in their own hands and do what they feel they want to do just because exams were difficult. Did you not know that you're going to take an exam? So, if you want to protest, there are channels of protest, aren't there? And if there are channels of protest, why go down this route? I really feel that this is the police act. So, let me ask you a question. Can you compare this to corruption?
How so?
Is corruption criminal?
It is.
And if, say, I'm caught being corrupt, what will happen to me?
You'll be punished.
Exactly. Laws are laws.
Yes, but they are being punished. They are going to be, they have been dismissed from their schools. Isn't that enough? But to have them stay home for 2 years because of this act that we all agree is wrong, what would the future look like for them?
Didn't they know what they were doing before they went to do what they went to do? Did they not know the consequences of their action before they did what they went to do? And what is the objective of them being there? To take an exam. And so if you now take the exam, irrespective of what you've done, and you get the top mark, every university would want you, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Would you not have caused a criminal act? Huh? And just because you got a top mark, that one is put under the table? If for nothing at all, there must be a criminal record by your name. Put you at home for 2 years. They don't say you can't do it again. You can't go and retake the exam again. You can't go and retake the exam again. Go and retake after 2 years. But you read what the president said. What do you think is behind it? Why would the president step in I'm trying to understand why he would. Is it because he sees the children's future go astray? Is it his responsibility to make sure that the children's future doesn't go astray? If for nothing at all, that responsibility is with the parents of the children.
But some people did come out to say things like, oh, this is a reflection of the free SHS policy not being implemented well.
Which some people? Which are some of the people?
I'm going to quote, I'll find the quote for you on Big Issue over the weekend.
Politicians?
One of the NDC members actually said that on the Big Issue over the weekend. I'll find the quote.
How do you
for
connect the two? I'm trying to look at what you just said. How do I connect the two in terms of their criminality and free SHS? Is it because they are not paying school fees, so they feel they can do anything they want to do? Look, some of we politicians, when we're doing our analysis, I wish you could read it.
I'll find it
so
for
that
you.
I can understand what he's trying to get to.
I'll find it for you.
We should. Criminality is criminality. Dziffa, criminality is criminality. Whether the system they've put in place is good or bad, criminality is criminality. You knew you had to study because you were told that if for nothing at all, out of all the West African countries, Ghana alone was going to do WASI. So students knew that whatever the case is, we were going to do the WASI. Study.
So I have it here. Nipapo is a legal practitioner, actually, and a member of the National Democratic Congress, and he believes that the Akufo-Addo government itself is to blame for the behavior exhibited by some of the final year students. I'm going to quote what he said. They attempt to use past questions as a lifeline to rescue a policy that is good in theory but has been poorly implemented. This is the result. We condemn the insults and all that, but we should look at the underlying problem, and that problem has to do with the poor implementation of the free SHS policy. These kids are being used as guinea pigs, unfortunately, but we are praying that they muster the courage to be able to write these exams. They should not rely only on past questions. So he's saying perhaps providing the past questions for them to prepare could have made them a bit lazy, and now they feel entitled to, know the answers, and are now finding the questions very difficult to answer. But then Bernard Okoboy also came to respond that the acts of the WASI candidates are a reflection of society, not free SHS policy.
Dziffa, did you do O-levels?
Well, in my time, there was not called the O-levels, but I took all the exams I needed to take to get
WASI.
to uni. Yes.
Whatever the case, you did WASI. Did you not rely on PASCO?
Yeah, I mean, you have the questions you prepare for it.
PASCO, you have your notes, you look at the PASCO questions, and then you look at possible ways of how you can answer a PASCO question.
But I'm not sure the state aided me in getting those questions. But either way, that doesn't justify you beating up.
How did the state aid? How did the state aid?
I think a couple of years ago, Elvis, if I'm not mistaken, the government helped with some of the preparation materials for the students.
What preparation material? Is it this issue of past questions? We all wrote exam from GSS.
Exactly.
Nobody but you yourself will go and look for it. It's not. A past question is not about that's how the question will come. It's about learning how to answer questions. How do the examiners actually ask the questions? You see, the same question can be asked.
Looking at the character of the question.
One word can change the meaning. And your inability to understand that word will defeat your purpose, because they will tell you that understanding the question is in itself part of answering the question.
So should we be training students to not rely heavily on this? Because what exactly will cause students to behave the way they did because you found the questions hard? Then you fail the test and take the test again.
Let's look at the teachers who teach our children and see how they train those children to be able to answer questions. That's the key. That's the key. Because when I was in school, my geography teacher would teach me some of the things I need to look at when I get a question to be answered. Some of the areas, some of the words, some of the thinking behind some of those questions. Is that what happens in school today? Or they just go in there, teach the children, and that's it. Teaching children is not only giving them notes. Teaching children also involves teaching them how. So this is the question, and this is where chew, pour, pass, forget comes in. You have some teachers who will teach children how to apply the question and answer that question in an application mode, so that the child's thinking is seen in the answer they give. Not, I've gone to chew, I've come to pour, and I'm going to pass. So let's look at that side too, because it's not only children, it's not only students who have that responsibility to pass. And a lot of that responsibility is on the teachers who teach them. So let's go back and see how we teach these, how we train these teachers, how we assess these teachers continuously to make sure that children are passing. I don't see how. If you say questions are difficult, that now turns into criminality. 14. So
in different schools.
In different schools. Maybe they are the percentage in the schools that cause problems. Let's look at the background of these children. Let's do more analysis of these 14 and see, when they were going through school, were they disciplined children? Were they children who gave problems? What are the kind of children we're looking at? And we have to be able to question the parents. Also, you just don't leave the children on their own. Question the parents. Get the parents, and this is where I would have thought, if the president left it for the police to handle, it would put some fear in parents.
But what kind of children, what kind of future leaders are we raising if they feel so entitled to, get easy examinations? What would this mean for their future?
What kind of role models do we have in society today? That's the question. What kind of role models are our children following today? Who are the role models? And what have the role models been able to do to make children understand that you cannot
skip steps, really?
Take these types of steps just because you're not satisfied with the question. Look, when you're in secondary school and you come out of a paper and you know you've bombed the paper, the next paper, you make sure you study hard, because maths, you're going to get 9. You didn't study. So geography or English, you study well so that it balances out. But you don't say that because I've had, the exams were difficult, you're going to do criminality. The parents should be pulled in, the teachers should be pulled in, the students should be pulled in. And really, as I said initially, I appreciate the humanitarian side of the president, but it is not his beef. It is not his beef. His beef is to call the Minister of Education in, let the Minister of Education brief him, and then let the law take its course. Let the law take its course. Criminality is criminality. I don't think he should have stepped in.
Okay.
And I don't think the NDC too should have said what they said. They shouldn't politicize this thing. It's not a politics thing we are talking about. We're talking about children who have done wrong, because they shouldn't have done that. How can you go and vandalize what? I understand they, correct me. They understand vandalized cars,
school properties,
and all that.
Beat up some of the instructors.
It's wrong.
Even somebody was beaten up.
Was beaten up.
Wrong.
So Elvis, this violence that the students displayed, moving forward, how do we ensure? Because this is not like us. We feared our teachers when we were students.
Dziffa, what do you mean it is not like us? What do you mean it's not like us?
This isn't a reflection of
The
Ghanaians.
point
This is not what we used
It's
to
the
do.
beginning of something.
Okay.
As clearly said, it's a reflection of current society.
Current society.
Really?
Yes. You see, the society is made up of families. You see, the component of society we talk about is individual families. It's about the upbringing of people from individual families. And our confusion between what is right, what is people's rights, what children should be allowed to be able to do, and what they can't do.
Just let me add to that. Families, yes, and then those families turn into communities. And within the communities, this is how these things
in the
happen.
community, if you are making sure that your child is not copying blindly what is happening in the community, your child will behave. So it's a signal to parents that they need to pay more attention to their kids. Because the child may be picking up certain things. Maybe you are doing your best to bring the child up at home, but maybe it's picking up certain signals from the community and it's trying to practice, but your attention is not there. So by the time you see it being exhibited, the child has been in it for a long time. We need to understand that, you see, I can disagree with you, but I'll do it in a manner that is respectful, and people will say, this person has common sense. But if we allow the kids, especially in this technology age, and this age where everything we want to attribute to, I know my rights, and we think that children should be allowed to do what they like, please, it won't work. As a Christian, I know the Bible says that foolishness abounds in the mind of the child. So use a cane. We said, no, don't cane the children anymore. Parents were walking to schools and confronting teachers and attacking teachers for punishing their kids for doing the wrong thing. So now the teachers too have decided that my duty is to come and teach. Your child's discipline and everything is your home business. So once I deliver my lectures or my tuition to the kid, I'm done. Since punishing your child, you can come and confront me. I'll leave your child to do whatever he likes. That is your business as a parent. So that link between parents and teachers has been broken now.
But how do we groom future leaders who won't feel entitled to things? Because 90% of the things they will want out of life, they won't get. But you don't go beating somebody up because you didn't get what you wanted out of an examination or a job interview. That is the entitlement. By this country, entitlement is what we are doing. Even in the politics, what we do. It's all the fight we are seeing at the registrations and what it is entitlement mentality. My candidate must win this station. So it is people that will think that to vote my candidate who are allowed to register here. It's entitlement mentality. So the society we are building, unfortunately, we are copying too many things blindly from other countries and other cultures. And we are just copying and leaving them without comparing to who we are and asking ourselves, this thing, how does it fit into our society? And how best can it grow a better nation? Unfortunately, that's what we are doing. So when we compete these things blindly and we think that we should allow our kids to behave anyhow, I can tell you it can only lead to a lot of junkies and foolishness on the streets, because these kids lack the full understanding and appreciation of what they are doing. They can't really appreciate the impact of what they are doing. But by the time they realize the impact of what they have been doing 20 years ago, it is too late for them. That is why parenthood is key. That's why society should not just wake up and jump into it. It is my right, it is my right. It is my right, it's my right. Yes, fight for rights. Okay. But there are some things we are describing and labeling as rights in this country. It's what will bring us to this level. We'll go when we are pardoning them, now. Expect more next year. Thank you guys so much. I'll come back to you, but we have to go on a quick break. This is still Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you guys so much for staying with us. It is an interactive show, so wherever you're watching us from, we want to hear from you. Use the hashtag Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line 0550585832 to join the conversation. We'll be right back.
Pepsodent introduces charcoal and lemon essence. The unique combination of natural essences whitens teeth naturally for you and family, because every smile matters.
Welcome back. It is still Breakfast Daily on City TV. Thank you so much for staying with us. It is an interactive show. If you're watching on Facebook, please comment down below. If you're on other social media platforms, our hashtag is Breakfast Daily. And if you want to reach us directly, our WhatsApp line is 0550585832. If you're outside Ghana, the country code is +233. I have received some messages from you guys, so I'll read them briefly. Sir Galaxy says the end product of punishment is reformation and not destruction. We must all condemn what the school children did, irrespective of the political lenses we wear. That notwithstanding, I think dismissing them from the school and barring them from writing the exams can only destroy their future and not to reform them. And then you've written this in capital letters: can't their results be withheld for a certain duration before it will be released to them to serve as a deterrent rather than sacking them from schools? So you're saying we shouldn't do that. Another message here from Al Hassan in Tamale. I agree with what the honorable panelist has said. Anybody who breaks any of the laws must be held accountable and punished to serve as a deterrent to others. His Excellency shouldn't have intervened in this and let them face the punishment of lawlessness. Olanyo Nakwetia says, without functional strict discipline in our schools, there can be no academic success. Record shows that schools which maintain such high levels of discipline in their academic records are amongst the best. For goodness sake, let us return to the high level of discipline of yesteryears. Let us ignore the so-called, I don't think we should ignore the child rights advocates. But Lawyer Jantwa, what do you make of those who say, if these students are complaining about the exams today, how are they going to even be able to write it 2 years from now if we allow them stay home as a punishment for their behavior?
Why
they still have the entire future ahead of them.
Why wouldn't they be able to write the exam? The 2 years of staying home alone is a deterrent. The 2 years of staying home alone should tell you that I've got to get my skates and do well in the coming exam.
So they should use that to prepare well for the exam.
It should be a wake-up call for them. They should learn from it. And 2 years, they still have the opportunity to retake in 2 years' time.
Yes.
And here, parents too would be involved to make sure that their children sit at home, and if they were supposed to take extra tuition for them, they take extra tuition so that they learn. Because if you know that your future is based on the exams you're taking and you've done something that grievously wrong, you have to sit and make sure that you learn. I was going to ask, I don't know, I'm older than both of you, so I'm not sure. In my day, you go on a bus, and we used to take a bus to school, and you misbehave. An elderly person will ask you, who's your father? You don't know this person. Where do you live? They'll hold your hand and bring you to your house and tell your father, tell your mother, this is what your child did on the bus. Your father and mother will beat you in front of them. They'll beat you in front of them.
But we can still discipline our children without beating them.
Beating is part and parcel of the discipline.
You can still discipline a child without putting your hands on that child.
Why do you think killing a child is wrong?
Why?
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
Why do we think that?
There are people who believe that there's a level of
if you believe that practice, but me, I don't believe it. So let me allow. Give me my
still
freedom.
discipline the child without putting your hands on the child. Do you agree that you can still discipline a child without borderline abusing that child?
There are some children who have passed that stage of adhering to discipline.
Okay.
And sometimes you need to beat them. Look, I'm the only boy in my family. When my father was in prison, 66 coup, and I tried to go wayward, my mother beat me. She beat me. And the fact that she beat me put me on the straight and narrow. I'm not saying every child should be beaten. I'm not saying so. But with this particular one, we have laws. Let them experience that the country has laws. So when they now get into higher positions, and because they've had this experience, the law didn't do anything to them, they are Auditor General, or they are board chair, or they are MC or something, corruption is going on. We know how to do the law. We can bypass it. Then what happens? It's the country that suffers.
Okay.
Laws are laws.
Okay.
Are you trying to tell me, Dziffa, that sitting here, if I do something untoward, you won't walk me out? You walk me out because there are certain laws in this place that I need to adhere to if I want to come here.
Okay.
You won't say that, it's because it's Kwame Janto, he comes here all the time. No, you won't. Your management won't. Your management will say to your ear, Dziffa, don't ask that man any question again. We are walking him out. Laws are laws.
Okay.
You learn lessons from serving the punishment. Those who are thinking that punishing people, you are what's the reformation does not come?
Elvis, they are being dismissed from school.
Doesn't God punish? Doesn't God punish?
They are being dismissed from school.
Yes, so
doesn't God punish?
They've actually been dismissed.
You see, the problem you are having, they have not been dismissed. They have already finished school. Once they finish the WASI, they are not going back to the school. So if you say you have dismissed the person, it's meaningless. The person is a final year student writing WASI. The day the person writes the final paper of WASI, he's no longer going back to that campus. So then what's the essence of saying the person has been dismissed? Okay, so it doesn't serve any purpose. Okay, let no one create the confusion that if you are punished and you serve the punishment, it means that you will not reform. In fact, it is the lessons you learn in serving that punishment that will help you to reform. And let nobody deceive you that disciplining a child minus cane is possible. It is possible. Yes. It is possible, but if you understand that there's a offense that the child will commit, you just wink your eye. There's a comment the child will call, you call and say, this thing, don't do it again. There's an offense the child will commit, you need to whip him away. You see, so you combine all the various strategies to bring up a child. So if you eliminate the kid, what will you do at the time the child commit a crime that deserves a cane?
We'll agree to disagree on that one.
Cane takes away a lot of foolishness from the mind of the child.
We'll all agree to disagree on this matter of caning the children.
COVID-19 in America.
We'll continue.
COVID-19 in America, what are they saying? It's all right, we don't have to wear masks, all right. What is happening in America? COVID is spreading.
Okay, we'll take a look at our next story here. I'm reading from citynewsroom.com, and it says 16.6 million persons captured in voter registration exercise. So the Electoral Commission has registered 16,663,699 persons during the mass voter registration exercise. These figures from the Commission are provisional. The EC also has 797,493 people quarantined on multiple registrations and exceptions list. The Commission has put in place an adjudication committee to manually determine cases of duplicated voter registration. Since the EC's last briefing, the 4 top regions in voter share remain the Greater Accra region, Ashanti region, Eastern region, and Central region. The Commission noted that the Greater Accra region lost some grounds in percentage terms from 21.34% to 20.8% of the total registered. The Ashanti region also reduced marginally by 0.1% to its current 17.9%. The Commission added to the briefing on Friday, August 7th, 2020, but both in the Eastern and Central regions have maintained their previous 9.6% and 9.3% respectively. Lajantwa, your thoughts on this voter registration exercise?
But you left one out.
I can continue.
You left one out on the voter region.
The 4 remaining regions, the Western, Western North, Upper West, Northern, and Upper East regions increased their share of voters on the electoral roll. The Ahafo, Bono East, Oti, Northeast, and Savannah regions maintained their percentages. The Commission added that only the Volta region reduced in percentage terms in this group. The 2019 register had a total of 16,845,420 voters. So again, only the Volta region reduced in percentage terms in the group.
Why did they put it in that form?
It's not compared to 2019 register. When they started the registration, they were doing percentage of how each region is performing. And they were saying that in the last week of the registration compared to the earlier stages. So it's not.
But he's also saying, why did they are you asking why they signaled out voter
region?
Yes,
because they equally said that Ashanti region also reduced marginally by 0.1.
But
all of them. It's compared to the previous.
But they improved drastically.
Weeks. This same registration, not the previous register. No.
So one thing that would help is that the political parties too can verify.
beyond the EC.
Yes,
bringing
beyond the
this
EC,
out.
so that there's a balance,
Okay.
so that everybody knows that what the EC has brought out is
Exactly.
the right thing. Because you see, there's this perception that the EC is trying to, favor the government and all that kind of stuff. We've got to a stage where we now have to put that behind us, because the registration has already taken place. 16.6 million people is a high figure. Is a high figure. The other thing we need to do is to compare these figures with our population census and see the increase of population within this duration of time. What are we looking for? What am I looking for? Looking for legibility, to make sure that nobody, no political party, be it NDC, be it MPP, be it CPP, be it GCPP, can point a finger that there are question marks with the work the Electoral Commission has done. With all the brouhaha that went on towards this registration, let's get to a stage where we can all agree that the work the Electoral Commission has done is legitimate, can be verified, and nobody can question. Yes, there will be some plus and minuses in certain areas, but the onus is also on the political parties to make sure that they also look at what the EC has done, and they look at it not on political lines, but look at it for the good of the country.
Okay.
If it so happens that they discover that the Electoral Commission has done a good job, say it.
Okay. Speaking of political parties, there's a story here on ctnewsroom.com that says Bono, 1 dead, 2 in critical condition, during clash between NDC and NPP supporters. Really sad story there. 1 person has reportedly died, with 2 others in critical condition following clashes between some supporters of the governing New Patriotic Party and the opposition National Democratic Congress at Kwanta in the Doma West District of the Bono region. That's in Kwanta in the Doma West District. What do you make of
Dziffa.
the violence? And we are just registering. It's not even time to vote yet.
Dziffa, we should think as Ghanaians. Whether we support MPP, whether we support NDC, whether we support CPP, we should think as Ghanaians. What good does this do to anybody's electoral success? Tell me. What good does it do? How does it help the voting?
So how do we get politicians to a point where they see that we have to place the interest of Ghanaians first and not our own personal interests, and we can't continue sacrificing these young men for our own interests?
Why are you looking at politicians?
Who should we be looking at?
Police. We have laws in this country.
Yes, but we have cases where a young man will act out, the police will go after them, and then they will call somebody to come bail them out.
That should stop. This is one of the things I expect the president to talk about. These are some of the things.
But we have the vigilante bill.
He has a humanitarian, fine. But these are some of the things, because you see, at the present moment, do we know how many guns are circulating in Ghana? Do we have a percentage of weapons circulating in Ghana? We might not have it. This is just the tip of the iceberg for the elections. And this should tell the police and the security services to start working on these things now.
Okay, thank you.
So it is not just a question of politicians. It's a question of the law to take anybody, be it politician, be it ordinary civilian, who tries this, to let the law deal with them.
Okay.
We put politicians on so high a pedestal. When is the people who make politicians?
Okay.
And I don't understand that.
Okay, thank you. Elvis, what do you make of the Electoral Commission exceeding its target and violence that have come up as a result of just registering for a voter's ID card?
Well, if you're ordinary Ghanaian, you want to die for a politician, you die a foolish death. And we'll call it as a stupid death. That is what it is. Because the politician who you are fighting for goes to government, go enjoy, lives in cantonment, East Legon, have the best of accommodation, cars and everything. You still remain in the village where you are. So if you want to go and fight and die because of a politician, you are not wise. So
well, they do it for the political party.
Yes,
and people feel
but when the political
strong,
party comes to power, you, the one that is fighting in
party.
Bono, who are you going to get close to the Jubilee House? Who is going to give you any appointment?
Well, sometimes they have money.
We should stop this foolish thinking. So it is foolishness. People should understand. Seeking job for somebody's father or mother shouldn't cost you your life. If you do that, you are stupid. And we must start people in the face. The stupidity needs to stop. If you want to be stupid, we'll aid you to be stupid.
At what point do we condition these young men enough so that they are also not being, it comes across as if they are victims of some of these things.
They are not victims, they have brains in their head. Why should I sacrifice my life for somebody to come to power? Where will I be when the power comes? The person who is dead now, where will the person enjoy if there's any, whichever party he support? What will be the benefit to him dying? Okay. That's the stupidity they should stop. It doesn't benefit you anyway. If you lose one of your eyes or your legs because of political party, how normal are you? We are not in a military regime where you say you are fighting a military regime. We are in a democratic regime. Go and register so that on December 7th you can vote. And you go and fight, you are stupid.
But what do you make of this? Some of these violence that have come up? It's a very straightforward process. You go, you register, you go back home. No one predicted that these stories would come out of it.
That is why the foolishness needs to stop. Just use your common sense, period. Let me talk about registration. When people want to die foolishly, they can continue to die foolishly. We don't have to waste time for that. We have to talk about important things, and we should use the time for those things. This political violence and all this, it is fools who allow themselves to be used. So if you let's assume that you claim that they are victims and want to accept it, then they are stupid. How can I allow myself to be used by a politician? What do I gain from the politician? If I die, my family, the pain I will cause them, everything, how does the politician come in? They will come there and come and give 1,000 or 5,000 donation. That's the rest. That's for it for the rest of your death. Your family will never see them again. Okay. Even when you are alive and you vote for them and they go to power, how many times do you see them again until there's time for elections? This is how people should think and stop this madness that is causing the life of people, maiming people. It doesn't help you, the person who is involved in that. Me, I'm too wise to do that, so I won't do it. So people should also be wise like me.
Continue.
And we'll have the problem now.
16.6.
Yeah, the 16.6 register. I think the EC makes a very critical point that after the limited registration started last year, when they added the numbers, they had 16.8 million people on the register. So if they had not done a new register, they were going to do another limited registration this year. And they project to get 2 million. But I said, since they got 1.2 million last year, let's project another 1.2 million. If they got another 1.2 million this year, add 16.8, the register would have been 18 million. But the decision to do a new register, now we are less than 17 million. It meant that almost 1 million names are off the register, which for me is a good thing. Because they argue that if you look at the statistical service data, people 18 years and above in Ghana, it's about 17.5 million. That's the data the statistical service has provided. So obviously, if they're having 16.8 million, that is reasonable. All 90-something% success in what they have done by capturing the people that they should have captured. And this is what brings me to the National Identification Authority's work. I'm happy that they are going to set up permanent district officer, and they have started the pilot already in 23 districts. We need this national ID to do the work and complete it. Once that is done, all the madness we are seeing in the voter registration wouldn't happen. Because by that time, 4 years from now, even if we have to do a new register because of whatever reason, everybody should be having a Ghana card by then. Because if you look at the NIA's own database, the EC's own database, it says that out of the 16.8 million people they have registered, over 10 million use the Ghana card to support their registration. Over 10 million use the Ghana card to support their registration. So it meant that if you had done this project and completed and it's working, a lot of the chaos of I'm challenging you and all those kind of stations might not have happened. Because it means that everybody who is eligible to register would have been having a Ghana card. And therefore, I will challenge you and all this wouldn't have happened. Most of the people who have been challenged because they need a guarantor to guarantee for them. They don't have any form of identification. If you look at the EC data, over 6 million Ghanaians who have registered on EC do not have any of their ID required, and therefore they have to rely on guarantors. Over 6 million. So you see why we are having problem with identity in this country. So for me, it's important, and if the National Identification Authority figure also showed us something, that out of the 13.5 million people they have registered, 11.3 million of the people are 18 years and above.
Okay.
11.3 million are 18 years and above. And their target of those people they wanted to register is about 16 point something million. So clearly, if the NIA should go ahead and do the district offices where people can just walk in, get their Ghana card, I believe that 4 years from now, every Ghanaian who is qualified to vote or do anything has a Ghana card.
Right.
And that is why we need government to continue to do the investment in the project. Make sure that even though it started in 2007 and we are still doing it, this time now we should make sure that it is completed. And then we should find, now they passed the new Birth and Death Registration Act. The government must invest in that institution as well for it to be effective as the national ID system. And then the database linked to the national ID. So that when people die, because proper records are being kept, the names can be taken out.
Thank you.
When kids are born, the names are there. At the click of a button, we can know our population at least 90-95% accurate. Therefore, when we are doing any form of planning, we should be able to know. We will be able to tell that these are the kids who should be going to kindergarten next year, because last year, this number of babies have been born, and we have all the database.
Thank
so
you.
we need these things to work so that all this mayhem at polling stations would be reduced. Because if you had gone there with your Ghana card, you just get your voter card and you go. And even we could extract the 18 and above from the database, if it is so credible, we could have even done the register from there without even registering, going to queue.
All right, thank you, Elvis.
And most of all, we need consensus from political parties.
Okay.
If it's going to work.
If it's going to work.
Yes,
out.
we need
Okay.
consensus.
Thank you. We've received some messages from our viewers. I'll read them briefly. We must condemn what those students did. They have to go by the WAEC rules. I think our education system is now politically influenced. We must remember that children spend most of their time in school, so parents intervening with the helping hand given to students by teachers must stop. And Prince Dogbe from Ankoma Foster in Achim Eribi. The President, Nana Akufo-Addo, has shown a level of maturity for directing the Minister for Education to engage the Ghana Education Service on WAEC ban for expelled students. It is time for students to take a good lesson from it. I agree with the panelists, but do you know now that our secondary schools don't repeat or sack students because of poor performance in exams? Now they do mass promotion whether you pass your exams or not. This is making students not take learning seriously. This is coming from Emmanuel from WA. I'm enjoying your show. Okay, Elvis, I really appreciate your analysis. You're a wonderful person. Okay, this is from Suleiman Tahiru to you, Elvis.
Thank you.
Good morning. There's one thing we are forgetting here. Children learn from what adults do. Politicians who talk anyhow on radio and TV have influenced children in unknown ways. Another one here from Hohoi. The issue of child indiscipline as far as teacher-parent relationship has broken down long time ago, the very day parents started attacking teachers for correcting their words. In correcting students in schools, the intention is not to damage the child, but sometimes mistakes do happen based on the form of punishment. This is just beginning of what we are seeing. Okay, good morning, Dziffa. Your panelists are on point. Any reversal of the sanctions on the 14 WAEC students will jeopardize the future of the same youth that we are trying to protect and the nation at large. And for the politicians, an expensive choice like the Muntie 3 decision. It's coming from Cynthia in Legon. Good morning. I think GS should allow the dismissed students to write the remaining papers while withholding their results for a year to deter other students. This is coming from Camille in Tamale. Keep the messages coming. The hashtag is Breakfast Daily and the WhatsApp line is 0550585832. Our last story has to do with COVID-19. I'm reading it from citynewsroom.com. Ghana's case count now 41,003. 9 new deaths recorded. We're still in coronavirus times. Greater Accra region now has 20,491. Ashanti region 10,251. You can see the rest of the regions down below on our website. Jantwa, what do you make of our case counts in the country? I mean, the clinically active cases are just 2,458, and 38,330 people have clinically recovered.
Just to add something from the last topic, sometimes too you get teachers in classrooms who can maltreat children.
Mm-hmm.
And so we should be very careful not to sidestep that.
Yeah.
When I was in primary school, I had a teacher who would hit my head against a blackboard.
Ouch. That's abuse.
Yes, that's abuse. So that too is there. So we should make sure that we are able to tease those teachers out.
Okay.
Dziffa, when you look all around the world, COVID seems to be everywhere.
Yeah.
We have to get to a stage where we can find a very, if it's the right word to use, and I don't think it's the right word to use, but I can't think of any word, a very palatable way of living with COVID. We've got to. It's not going anywhere. It is not going anywhere. And as we move, it moves. As we sit, it sits. And that should tell you something. That should tell you that we are the ones who are spreading it.
Okay.
And so we should try as much as possible to make sure that the protocols that we've put in place, we can adhere to. And, surprisingly, it's not only Africa, it's not only Ghana. This weekend, America, motorbike exhibition. Go and see. They said COVID or no COVID.
Well, Americans have always not been.
COVID or no COVID.
They've not complied.
No, but the Americans are not complying. Citizens are not complying. It reflects in